Welcome back to the NFL Trades Podcast. We'll be doing the 1/3 season review here. We're 1/3 through the way, about 6 weeks out of the 18. A lot of actions happened so far this season. I haven't been able to upload since I believe last Wednesday, so we're about a week removed from doing this, but I had flown down to Myrtle Beach and went to a couple places with a buddy, and we had a couple drinks and went on the beach, and that was about it. And now I'm back here, back at college. So we're gonna just go through every single team, and we're gonna kind of go through what's been really good, what's been really bad, and what's been kind of decent. And we'd like to see it improve, or maybe it gets worse. So we're gonna start out with the AFC East. We're gonna start with the Dolphins, top of the division right now at 5-1. The very good is their offense has been insane. There was a stat where their yards, the distance between the amount of yards they have scrimmage wise versus the Eagles, who are in second, is about 700 yards, and the team that is 700 yards away from the Eagles is 22nd in yards. So you have the Dolphins, who are up here, the Eagles, who are down here, and then the Raiders are down here. But between these two teams, there's nobody. Between these two teams, there's about 20 or 21 different teams down in this range right here. But it's the same amount as the Eagles to the Dolphins. That is insane. This offense is on pace to break records, not only with yards but also points. They are on pace to become the most scoring offense in NFL history, which is remarkable. I don't have on me what the average points per game it is, but I'm pretty sure it's within the 30s. I feel like they've scored at least 20 every game, even when they struggled against the Patriots in primetime, which we'll get to that. I want to talk about primetime because it's been odd to me how primetime has been going. There's been some good games, don't get me wrong, but most of them have been defensive battles. The bad for the Dolphins, I'd have to say, is these injuries, man. They're sustaining so many injuries. Everyone's getting hurt left and right, which I want to mention that although there's a lot of injuries, guess who's standing still? And I'm not going to jinx it. I don't believe in jinx. But, man, Tua hasn't got hurt yet. And everyone's like, oh, well, the Dolphins won't be able to do nothing because Tua's going to get hurt. You can't trust him. He's the only one that really hasn't gotten hurt on this offense. Everyone has gotten injured. Almost every player, like skill position wise, and even a couple linemen. I'm not sure about the tight ends, but the linemen like Teron Armstead, they've had to make multiple shifts. Liam Eichenberg's been all over the place, and I don't even think they wanted to start him right away, and they were having to do it and now you have multiple linemen playing different positions. You have Tyreek Hill, who's now hurt. Jalen Waddle was out for a little bit. You have Devon Achane, who's hurt. I'm surprised Raheem Mostert hasn't got hurt yet with how older he is. It's just like a lot of injuries, and that's kind of been the theme of the NFL. And it's kind of why the NFL is trying to crack down on stuff. They're just about to get rid of. They haven't got rid of it officially yet, but they're about to get rid of the hip drop tackle, which is where you grab the opponent you grab the offensive player by the hips to tackle them. And what happens, and this is why there's a lot of injuries, is what happens is their leg gets trapped under the defender who's trying to tackle them, and then they can't move. They try and squirrel out of this position, but it's so awkward, and then they screw up their ankle, twist it, turn different parts of their leg ways they shouldn't turn, and that's just kind of like what is why it's why the NFL wants to get rid of these hip drop tackles. But at the same time, how are these defenders going to have to? How are they going to tackle? I mean, it feels like every year they're getting rid of an ability of these defenders to make a play. And at what point are we going to be like, well, then how are they supposed to like just tackle them in general? Like if they try anything out of the ordinary, it's going to be an immediate flag and first down, and then they're going to be dissuaded to even tackle. I mean, we've seen it with the roughing the passer call, which is accelerated in stupidity. I feel like every year. I mean, like at this point, these pass rushers have to just lay a pillow on the ground and place them gently on that pillow for them to not get flagged. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I guess with Tom Brady out of the league, it's not as bad. No, but seriously, like it's still bad. Like you still have this issue in which these pass rushers can't put all their weight on them, and then even sometimes when they don't put all their weight on it, they sometimes consider it as all the weight, even though you didn't put all the weight on it, or you can't like if they get the ball off just in time, and like you can't like react quick enough, but they're still going to call it on you, even though it's like physically impossible to react and stop like running at the QB, or you can't even see that the QB let go of the ball, and then you go to tackle him, or what we saw. I don't remember who it was. I don't know if it was Melvin Ingram. It was an old veteran like pass rusher that's so used to the older rules, and when they went to go pass rush, uh they thought the QB had let go of the ball, so then they didn't tackle him because they were scared to get a flag, right? And it's just causing all these players to be dissuaded to make the right play and make a big play, and I don't know. But like it's funny with all these defensive like disadvantages that they're having to deal with, and yet the defenses are outplaying the offenses this year, and it's by a margin. And Warren Sharp, nice analyst out of I don't even know. He has his own little company, but he does these good analysis, like great uh, analysis of the of football, and he literally went through this, like literally how all these offenses have been doing on averages, and the graphics are insane. And it's like, oh, our offense hasn't been this bad since 2011, 2009, 1991 in this category, this category. It's like, why are all these offenses struggling? Why is the defenses outperforming them? And man, Dolphins, going back to the Dolphins, I mean, they're one of the only offenses I feel like can actually outperform any defense. Like it feels like like certain defenses like the 49ers or the Browns or the Jets can just outperform any offense in the league other than the Dolphins. And it really just shows like how like I feel like the defenses are, outweighing the offense in performance. Um Decent with the Dolphins, their defense. Um they have some guys trying to play their hearts out. They have guys that are working hard and, doing their thing. Jalen Ramsey will be coming back somewhere in the end of the season, so that's a plus. They're the pass defense has just not been there for them. Who are they? The Panthers open the field, like the middle of the field was open all the time. It felt like, and they were just cutting. Adam Thielen was making the Dolphins defense look like the who's a defense that gets torched. Um, what's a bad defense? I can't even think of it on the top of my head right now. Oh my gosh, what's a bad defense? Anyways, the Dolphins' defense was not good. They have not been playing that good, and yeah, they've sustained some injuries. But Xavier Howard not looking like himself. I keep harping on Kader Kahu, who's also playing on the outside. The linebacker game is just it's not there. Van Ginkel's probably the only shining star on that defense right there. Bradley Chubb not himself. it's rough. It's rough to watch. Uh, Christian Wilkins, I haven't seen much from him either. And this was supposed to be one of the top D lines in the league, and it just hasn't performed the way they'd like it to. And I think, really, actually, their D line is kind of like what is keeping them kind of like alive. It's putting pressure on these quarterbacks, and these uh, these corners can make the right play sometimes because the pressure is there most of the time. Not most of the time, but more than you know mediocre, more than a little more than average. But it just hasn't performed to the expectation at which we expected, and that's kind of holding this defense back. It feels like any team could go up against this defense and score 20 at least. And I mean, when you got a really good offense like that, I guess you take a hit and take a sacrifice with your defense. Can't have them both unless you're the 49ers, who also are sustaining injuries, and that's not good. We'll get to them. We got to keep moving. The Bills, they're not able to get their run game going again. This is really tough. Because we've seen James Cook have his games, and you're thinking, okay, they can change their play style. They can have they don't have to lean on Josh Allen as much with the run. James Cook can do most of the running for them. And the run game, I don't know if it's Ken Dorsey or if it's James Cook or if it's the line, but the run game just hasn't been there when they needed it, and they've had to resort to different types of play styles that just doesn't fit them because they're afraid to go back to the Josh Allen run game play style. And yeah, Josh Allen's going to make his plays. He's going to be clutch, especially towards the end of the game. But, man, like that offense in primetime against the Giants just did not look good at all. And, like, it sucks. It sucks to watch because we've seen this offense light up against the Dolphins defense, and I get it. The Giants defense isn't the Dolphins defense, but there's definitely weak spots in that Giants defense that the Bills could have attacked in that game. And then it just like I feel like they're not spreading the ball out as much. I feel like, and I guess it again that the play style that they've changed to when their run game is not there is kind of Stephon Diggs heavy, and we've talked about this where we're like, yeah, it's nice to have all this this talented wide receiver, but you gotta spread the ball out. You gotta utilize all your weapons to their best ability, and it just feels like they make it one guy centric whenever they don't have that run game. And we talked about this in the last podcast, but when they have that run game going, they're almost perfect on play action. And when they can have that option of where, okay, the defense needs to be able to read if we're running or throwing, then we can make the right throws and we can make the right reads and scheme it properly to where the wide receivers are getting open in the middle, blah, blah, blah. No. The linebackers aren't worried about the run because it's just like the shifts aren't there on the line, and they're running a lot of inside and not really getting James Cook on the outside. I feel like he's a good receiving back. Get him more on the outside. Get him more going that way instead of going straight in the middle, straight dive, whatever, trap. Just get him going on the outside. Use him as a receiving back. And I guess what they kind of been trying to do with Latavius Murray, but they got to open up James Cook here and stop trying to act like he's this big power back that can just run down the middle and get 8 yards every play. And it's not who he is, and they just got to utilize his abilities. And when they can't do that, they have to lean on the passing game, and their play style just isn't there for them to just be able to lean on that passing game. It sucks because, like, like watching them against the Giants, you expected this to be a blowout, and they just nothing sparked on offense. But everything sparked on offense against the Dolphins. And that play style with Stephon Diggs centric was able to work. He got 3 touchdowns, and it just wasn't working against the Giants. I mean, Deontay Banks was playing good. Adoree Jackson did get hurt early, but Giants secondary stepped up. Definitely Xavier McKinney, Pinnock, whatever. Definitely all stepped up, and this Bills but for sure the Bills defense has been playing lights out. They've been playing so good. But what might be some of a problem, and this is your middle, this is your decent, this is your like, okay, it can go either way, is the injuries. The injuries have been so bad for them on both sides of the ball. I mean, I was going to just talk about defense, but, like, man, they lost Damian Harris again. Not again, but they lost Damian Harris. I'm trying to think of who else Kincaid wasn't in. So they were having to go with Knox and a tight end that has never like got a target in the NFL. His first target was a touchdown. Their defense definitely taking the most hits with Tre'Davious White, Matt Milano. I think someone else got injured as well on their defense. I can't remember. I think it was a linebacker. But anyways, the point is this team's also sustaining injuries that could ruin them, especially considering some of them could be season-ending, or they don't get them back till playoffs, which could be rough. Yeah, I mean, like, this defense is playing out of their minds, playing really good, but how many injuries can they sustain before they start having weak spots that teams recognize and take advantage of? Let's go on to the Jets. The Jets are a weird case. Aaron Rodgers, don't know when he's going to come back. He might come back towards the end of this year. Don't doubt him. He was on the field throwing, which is insane. He's off the crutches. But man, Zach Wilson, last game he played wasn't that good. They still won, and that's literally what this defense needs to do, man. Zach Wilson doesn't need to play an amazing game. They just need to outperform the opposing team's offense and outperform the defense at that matter. Zach Wilson outperformed Patrick Mahomes, and they didn't even win, and that was crazy to me. And then Zach Wilson goes and throws a 70 passer rating game, another weak game from him, and the defense just makes Jalen Hurts not look like the MVP candidate that he is. And this Eagles offense completely struggles against the Jets defense, and the Jets defense gets turnover after turnover, takeaway after takeaway. And that's just what you need from this Jets team, and that's some of these teams are like that, where their defense is going to have to do most of the work for them, like the Browns and the Steelers. And the fact that they're 3-3, man, we could have all guessed they would have been 3-3 by now, but not with Zach Wilson. We couldn't have guessed that, and with how the defense played Week 1, we couldn't have guessed it. It's just been a wild ride, and the fact that they're 3-3, heading into the second third, or whatever you want to call it, of the season, is kind of remarkable in a sense that Zach Wilson has had 2 good games, but even when he hasn't had his good games, they've somehow pulled wins, which, the Bills and the Eagles. So they beat the Bills, Eagles, and the Broncos, which is odd, man. And we'll see how they do against other, middle-of-the-pack teams. But it seems like their defense is going to have to carry them through wins. And maybe they pull off 8 wins, but who knows? The good is the defense. The bad is obviously Zach Wilson, Aaron Rodgers debacle. It could turn into decent, honestly. I mean, who knows? He might. We've seen him pass more, be more confident in his passing, stick in the pocket, make better decisions. But he still has some of the issues that have been the reason why he's been bottom whatever quarterback. I mean, his passer rating is still 33rd in the league. He's behind one of the backups. His passer rating is still lower than one of the backups. I don't know what backup it is, but I kind of want to find out because it's kind of funny. Dude, you're supposed to be a starting NFL quarterback. Why are you struggling this bad? But then again, it's like someone has to be 32nd. And then, maybe there's a good backup quarterback, someone that's been playing good. So, but all of his offensive stats are all 30 or plus, 30th or plus. So that's your bad. He's just super inconsistent. So, I mean, maybe you get a good game from him, which you did against the Broncos and Chiefs. But it's just too inconsistent for me. The decent will be if you can get Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson going, I think. And yes, and like I just said, Zach Wilson is too inconsistent for that to occur. But man, when they get going, this team it looks electric, and it's like, okay, well, we can. It's they have to scheme it up for Zach Wilson, make his life easier, so that. And I get it, Robert Saleh is not a offensive mind, but like at the end of the day, man, like you need to make it so he's just distributing to these guys, because Garrett Wilson can make plays. We've seen it time and time. He can make plays. Breece Hall, man, he's just give him the majority of the snaps. Don't force Dalvin Cook the ball. You can give Michael Carter a couple, third downs, whatever, in the red zone, whatever. But man, Breece Hall, feed that man, feed him. Just have Zach Wilson become a distributor, and this team can thrive. Like, distribute the ball, and then have the Jets play good defense. But don't force your long drives, short game. Keep your offense on the field. Keep whatever quarterback on the other team, keep them off the field, and this team will thrive. And then the less time the defense has to be on the field, the better they're going to play. And we saw it with the Cowboys game. The Cowboys offense was on the field the entire game, and the Jets defense was on the field in the entire game. So they just picked apart that defense and tired them out. Last team in the AFC East, we got the Patriots. And, man, this is just such a horrible showing. Belichick having some of his worst games here. Mac Jones, how does he become, this bad quarterback after a good rookie season? How does he just downgrade and work backwards? Like, how does that even work like that? There's something up. I mean, Zach Wilson didn't have that worse of a year either, but now he's got better coaching, and now they're trying to help him out. But it's not like the Patriots it's not like Belichick's not there anymore. Josh McDaniels didn't really work, and that experiment didn't work. Neither did Matt Patricia. Sorry for the yawn, man. I'm just tired. But yeah, who would you pick up from this Patriots team? What player would you pick up on your team? Is there any player on this Patriots team? Like, none of them been shining. Like, I always forget Juju Smith-Schuster's on the team. Like, honestly, they haven't used him correctly. Devontae Parker can't catch balls that are put in his lap. We've already seen that before. Ramondre Stevenson, kind of like the only good part of this offense, but yeah, he's struggling too. And they don't even get him the ball that much either. The line, just young, struggling. It's just nothing good from this offense, and that's kind of my bad here. Is the offense, the defense, mid, decent. They've been trying their hearts out. There's been a couple guys that have shined, a couple guys, trying to do something for this team. It's just nothing's working out. But still, there's nothing, too good on that defense. Uche's not playing out of his mind. Jack Jones not even there. Jonathan Jones not playing as good as he did his rookie year. I mean, it's rough. It's a rough, there's nothing you can pick out and be like, oh my gosh, this is something new and good for this team, and this person or this thing will be a good part of the future. You just can't. You can't pick anything out really with this team right now. And the only good thing that I have for them, and they're good, really is, I mean, shoot. If I'm Caleb Williams, I will go to this team. I will go to the Patriots team. I don't care. And does that probably mean if Patriots there at the number 1 overall pick, which I don't believe will be the case, because wouldn't it feel so weird to see Patriots with the number 1 overall pick? We've been decimated with Patriots teams for so long, this whole century, really, and to see them have the number 1 overall pick would be so odd, but man, would it kind of be nice? And I know everyone's like, "Oh, I would love to see Kelly Williams and Patriots." And I'm like, you would want to see a generational talent go back to New England and make New England good again. Why would you want it? Why would you want that? You want New England to be good? No, give them a break. Let them be bad for a little bit. Let them let these Patriots fans get a taste of what it's like to have a poverty franchise. Obviously, this is not no poverty franchise, but man, Bill Belichick's GM, he needs to be let go as GM. Honestly, they need to get an official GM in there, making the right call. Nothing prospect wise has turned out for him. I mean, it's just rough, and taking special teams as early as they did this year and as early as they have in the past, it's just like, why are they doing this stuff, man? I just don't quite understand it. But we're gonna move on to we're gonna just do AFC here. We're gonna move on to the Bengals. The good, the bad, the ugly here. The good, the bad, ugly for the Bengals. I know a lot of the Bengals have been struggling, to understand why, they're having the issues that they're having. But for the good, I would have to say this offense is kind of clicking now. I mean, they're getting things going. Run game still not there, but I think Jamar Chase, if they get him going, this offense can be Jamar Chase centric. That was kind of the problem. It was Jamar Chase centric, but they weren't using him like that, and it was. I mean, it's the way they were trying to force the ball to T. Higgins. He wasn't getting targets and catches. I mean, the targets he was getting, they were forced. Jamar Chase forced. Everything felt forced on this offense. And even though they did struggle against the Seahawks a little bit early on, and even Joe Burrow said it was an ugly win, I think this offense can return back to where they were. We've seen it. September, not been rough for them. I mean, it is October now. We've been 2 weeks into October, removed from September, but they do struggle early on. We have to see if they can keep going in the path that they're going, because this offense can be good. The defense playing over expectation. That's another good thing for them. But bad, this offense too inconsistent. I mean, it's just we need to see more consistency in this plays. And I don't think they're having much explosive plays either. I think it's just been kind of like long drives and struggle in the red zone, but sometimes get the touchdown, sometimes get the points. But man, like when you have 3 good receivers like that and you just can't get them the ball, it sucks to watch. And man, they're missing Lyle Collins. This line just hasn't been it's been subpar. Joe Mixon, clearly they're probably going to move off of him after this year. I can't remember actually what his contract is, but I mean there was talks about them moving off of him, and then he got a contract or a franchise tag. He's playing on the franchise tag, so I think they move off him after this year. And maybe they go get Brock Bowers, considering where they'll be at in the draft. I think they need a tight end. I called for it. They need it. Hayden Hurst kind of showed that this offense needed a versatile tight end, and it make a threat in the middle. I feel like I don't know, they like to play all these 3 guys in the slot, but not typically are any of those 3 guys really good up the middle. which sucks. It really does because when you have three talented wide receivers, you want to get them put in roles that make sense for them, that they'll thrive in, and be most advantageous for them. But when you don't have anyone to assert that specific role that you need in your offense for the offense itself overall to thrive, then there's a problem. And I feel like Hayden Hurst kind of took the top off the middle, and that's kind of what not only helped out the wide receivers, but also helped himself out because, now that he's, posing a threat in the middle, they not only do they have to worry about Hayden Hurst, but they also have to worry about these wide receivers. And now it's like, okay, you have four threats here, all coming from different parts of the field. And there's just not that threat in the middle, I feel like, anymore. And some of these teams just they kind of get away from stacking the box, and they play more, back coverage and in the flats, and they just because a lot of this Bengals offense is short game right now, and they haven't thrown much over 20 yards. Joe Burrow's kind of sucked over 20 yards. No deep throws. Where is all that? They can't do it because these defenses are able to play a little deep on them, or get not have to worry about stacking the box again because they don't have a run game. They don't have a tight end that's going to pose a threat in the middle. I mean, they've used Yosafias. They've been trying to use him in the slot. How much has that been working? I mean, he's more of a deep threat. So, I mean, it sucks. You want to sit here and say, oh, it can't be two players that are causing this offense to kind of fold like this. But then also you want to say oh, it's just Joe Burrow's calf and it's healing and he's now more mobile. He can now, make throws out of the pocket, and when he's pressured, still create these plays that he was able to create in other seasons, especially the Super Bowl run. And you're saying that this just opens things up. Yeah, sure, that's an argument you can be made, but at the end of the day, I think they're missing some key guys, and some guys are just performing under par, and maybe that is because they're missing other guys, that this team is just not thriving. But again, they won the last two games. They're on the upside here. Hopefully they return it back to what they were, but until now, it's too inconsistent for me. Ravens, man, Lamar's doing all he can do, especially when he's got these wide receivers dropping these balls. We watched him early on against the Titans. They did a good job of, feeding the ball to the right players. The receivers were playing really good, better than they played in the Steelers game. But this offense can look scary at times, but also can, kind of fold, especially in the passing game. And, man, would it be nice if they could have J.K. Dobbins, because it's just man, they're missing that running game. That running game is the Baltimore's offense, by the way. That has just kind of always been their offense. And when you can't, it feels like they're doing less RPOs and stuff like that with Lamar. And Gus Edwards and Justice Hill, and it just isn't the same. This offense has its moments, and it can look threatening, but it also has its weaknesses that some defenses can kind of just tear apart, which the Steelers kind of did, which, they've been letting up a lot of passing yards, and when the when the Ravens couldn't catch the ball, the Steelers kind of took advantage of it, and they just kind of just threatened them in ways that the Ravens weren't ready for. But other than that, they've kind of thrived in other games. But, man, if they get a defense like the Steelers that are playing aggressive, because that's what the Steelers defense is very aggressive, especially in the secondary, then they're going to struggle. They really are going to struggle. They're a more calm, collective team that's just going to make the right throws at the right times, try to avoid error, and not be as riskier. And when you have an aggressive team, they're going to take advantage of that. Speaking of the Steelers, we're gonna go to the Steelers here. The good, offense seemed to look, or well, obviously the defense. They're coming off a bye week here. They're gonna be playing the Rams. Their defense seemed to step it up here in week 5 or week 5, yeah, against the Ravens, which was well needed because again the offense didn't score to the very end, and it was good to see Kenny Pickett override Matt Canada's call because man, that's what we need more of. Uh, it's just all the world knows now that Matt Canada is not a good offensive coordinator. And as much as people like to call Steelers fans deranged, they can all agree with those quote unquote deranged fans that Matt Canada is not the right guy. I don't think he'll be fired by the end of the season, but the idea is he will be after off season. There's no way they keep him. They need something different. They need a change here in Pittsburgh. Bad, obviously, just being like a lot of their, Pickens has been playing good, but other than that, it's just been kind of lackluster. Deontay Johnson's still on IR. He'll be coming back soon or shortly. Jalen Warren, kind of like the only shining star on this offense. It feels like only the guy that is consistent. Pick has bad games. Pickens just, sometimes it's just not doing it for him. That sometimes I feel like he's limited in Matt Canada's offense. And yeah, Najee also inconsistent. I think Najee, Kenny Pickett are kind of like having the same performance here, where you just don't know what you're gonna get from any really at all at any point in the game, and that's kind of scary. But yeah, this offense, definition of inconsistent, takes way too long to score, and it's just kind of boring football. To be honest, everything's pretty simplistic, and a lot of defenses are able to read it. So it's more of, what is my guy going to go make that play over that guy versus, okay, let's scheme it up so this player can get open easier and not have to, put out 110 effort to make a play every single play. And that's kind of what Matt Canada is expecting from his players, to be honest. Moving on to the last team, which is the Browns. Their defense, historical defense here, just playing out of their minds. Even when they're sustaining some injuries, they're just playing so good. And it's part of Jim Schwartz and what he's done for the culture, everything for this team. It's just going to be coming down to the bad, which is their offense. The fact that they beat the 49ers amazes me with P.J. Walker at the helm. Mari Cooper, man, making some good catches, doing all he can do. I still feel like he's a little limited. They're not getting him deep as much anymore. But he's kind of the centric piece of this offense, especially with Nick Chubb gone. Ford's been doing good, holding that Nick Chubb role while he's gone. That's good for them. But the Lions always been good, so that's good for them. That's not a problem. David Njoku, he's playing average, but they don't need him to do anything crazy. That's not what this offense is about. This offense is about run and pound and get Amari Cooper the ball, and that's kind of what they've been doing, but they don't have that elite quarterback to distribute the ball correctly in which their offense can get going because, man, they can get the ball so much with this defense. This defense is lighting things up. They are the best defense in the league. I can say that now after Week 6, I think I can say that confidently that they're the best defense in the league, and 49ers are now the second best defense in the league. I think teams like the Jets are kind of coming up back to where they should be in that top 5 conversation. But the Browns defense definitely the best, in my opinion, the best defense in the league. You can argue it. It might be a hot take for some of you, but I enjoy their heart and how good they play, especially Myles Garrett playing out of his mind, getting pressures. Like, how are you supposed to stop that man? I really don't know. And then you got Clowney on the other side. Am I right about that? But yeah, like this defensive line with Davlin Tomlinson, I mean, gosh, it's been so good. No, not Jadavion Clowney. He's on the Ravens. Dummy. Who's on the edge? Who am I thinking of that's on the edge? With yeah, it's Darius Smith. Duh. Zadarius Smith also playing good, and I know it might be hard for to hear that, so considering I didn't remember him, but with Myles Garrett getting all the attention, getting double teamed constantly, then you give this man Zadarius Smith all this space and less attention. He's just gonna get some pressures. He's going to make you pay for it, and man, I mean, any offensive line that they've went through that hasn't been that good, it feels like they immediately just stop them in their tracks, and it's a 3-and-out, and that's putting less pressure on these corners, and that's kind of what's allowing them to make better plays, and they're just everybody's complementing each other, and that's how you want a defense to work. Everyone to complement each other. I mean, whenever your corners are saying, "Oh, we don't really have to do much because our defensive line is putting all the pressure on the QB," then that's literally what you want to hear. And then the D line also, you want them to say like, "Oh, sometimes I don't even it's not a big deal that I don't get to the QB because I know my corners from time to time will make a play, or my safeties or my linebackers, they'll make a play on the ball no matter what. Almost every play. And that's what's been shining about this Browns defense. We're going to move on to the AFC South, which has been somewhat surprising. We're going to start with the Texans. Man, CJ Stroud, oh, wow. Top 5 quarterback playing right now. Is he top 5 based on career? No, but is he having a season that's top 5 warranted? Yes, of course he is. He is playing how everybody wanted him to, but everybody did not think would happen. And for him to play this good is exactly what the Texans needed. Bobby, PFF guy, offensive coordinator. D'Amico Ryans bringing in the culture. Nick Caserio bringing in the right young guys, that are, going to make the plays. Even when, they don't have that name, they don't have, the experience, they're gonna do what they gotta do. Bringing in some vets when they lost some veteran presence. And Larry Tunsil playing like a top tackle in the league. That's exactly what they needed. Especially, this line was doing good even without him. So for him to come back and now them having him, gives CJ Stroud even more time and to find his guy Nico Collins, man. Nico Collins just coming out of this offense unexpected. No one expected this. He was a number 2 wide receiver behind Brandon Cooks, and everyone was like, "Oh, whatever." He's not even a number 4 on a bunch of other teams. Or I mean, he's probably a number 4 on so many other teams, but now he's a true number 1. He's solidified, and truly he could be number 1 on a good amount of teams actually, and it's good to see him on the come up. I would like to see them get some of these rookie receivers attention here. Jalen Hyatt, and I guess you could say Mechie because he didn't play last year, so he's kind of a rookie to me. So get these young guys going. Find ways to get them inserted in the offense. That would be amazing. That's my good for them. They're decent. Their defense playing pretty decent. I mean, they have their struggles. I mean, they don't have a top-tier guy to kind of like lean on. Like, everyone's still young. Everyone's still learning. Hopefully they would like oh my gosh, I'm having a brain fart. I hate this. I hate when this happens. They would like, to get some top tier pass rusher, someone that can they haven't had that in a while. Someone that can be a game wrecker and put pressure on some of these QBs, allow their secondary and their back end to, have a little bit less pressure on them. It's Derek Stingley. Yeah, no, they would love Derek Stingley to become that lockdown corner. That would be exactly what they want, especially. And then Jalen Pitre, also become that guy, but I believe he's injured, so that's unfortunate for them. But the bad would be if they're if they're inserted into a position in which they have to face adversity, they are going to lose. This team is not ready for that. They do perform good when they're up. I mean, that's just how it's been in the last couple games. But when they're down, it seems like they kind of fold, and that's kind of that young presence, not knowing how to stick into a game. But that will come. This team is very young. That stuff will come. Jaguars showing more consistency here, improving to 4-2. This is what they needed. They've been dominating London, and then they come in here into the Colts and show them, hey, you haven't beat us since 2014 in our house. We're gonna keep this streak alive. Gardner Minshew not able to do anything, making bad decision after bad decision over and over again, because with Andy Richardson out, Minshew is making me think that he could be a starting quarterback again. But then after this Jags game, I don't want him starting for any team ever. This was horrible to watch for him. But on this defensive side, man, shout out to the defense. That's their good. And I know their offense has, we'd like to celebrate their offense. But their defense has just been playing lights out. It's been awesome to watch. Probably the most unexpected performance from a side of a ball this year, for my opinion. Also, Texans offense definitely unexpected, so didn't mention that. But that came with how CJ Stroud played. With this Jaguars defense, man, getting pressures, this defensive line coming alive. It hasn't been alive in so long. I can't remember. Ever since Calais Campbell was there, it feels like they haven't really had a pass rush. Yannick Ngakoue, like Calais Campbell, that was the last time I can remember the pass rush was there. And for them to have this pass rush with the leader Josh Allen doing his dirty work, on the outside, it's amazing. And you got guys like Jenkins, obviously Campbell, Cisco, those guys, all playmakers, man. But yeah, it starts with this D line, and then pulls off some pressure off these guys in the secondary, and they're able to make the right plays. Yeah, I mean, it's just that no one expected this. The offense, it's been a little inconsistent, but as of late, it's been doing what needs to get done, getting their weapons the ball correctly, getting, guys like Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, getting them the ball, and Calvin really didn't have to have a good game against the Colts. They did it other ways. Travis Etienne, man, definitely becoming a rising star here in the NFL. This man was talking about in the offseason, okay, if I want a contract, I know I'm going to have to catch and run. I have to get more versatile. And, man, he actually did that. I think he actually, was a man of his word. He's definitely been working on his receiving game. And when they can use him in the receiving game and use him in the running game, he's so electric, man. And it just puts so much threat on the opposing defenses, to the point where, oh no, now we have 3 receivers to worry about. Oh, we got another one. His name is Travis Etienne. He's a running back, coming out of nowhere, and now he's in your end zone because, man, is just a touchdown machine. It looks like. Trevor Lawrence, maybe we'd like to see a little bit more from him, but again, it feels like every start of the year he's kind of struggled, and but there's nothing really of concern for me for Trevor Lawrence, but there's that little step that he needs to take that we're just missing, that we know would make him more of an elite quarterback in the league, but there's something missing. I think he's still top 10, somewhere around there. But there's something that he needs to do to take that step up. And we'll see if he can take that step up. We'll move on to the Colts. Anthony Richardson out for the year. It was announced. It sucks. We got to see some pretty good things from him. And we knew he had a high ceiling coming into the league. Low floor, high ceiling. Didn't had a big range. We didn't know what we'd get from him right away, but we got some good stuff from him. There's definitely some a little bit more stuff we'd like to see. Unfortunately, we won't get to see that till next year. Gardner Minshew is probably going to be the starter quarterback, and this team will probably kind of fold from now on. I mean, it sucks because they were doing good, and everyone kind of doubted them, especially with Anthony Richardson starting, having only 13 starts in college at Florida, and having to start NFL games, and he was already doing good. Looked like he was honestly like a season. I don't want to say season backup because it sounds like a negative. It has a negative connotation to it, but no, really, it looked like he knew what he was doing out there. But with backups sometimes they don't have that extra juice. He did have some juice in him, and that's what we were liking from him. Definitely on the running game, making some quality throws that a lot of NFL quarterbacks can't make, and so it was fun to watch. It was short lived, unfortunately, but this Colts team is going to struggle. Thankfully, they have their defense playing top tier. I feel like, but when their offense is going 3 out and all the time, this defense is going to get tired out, and that's going to be the end of it. This defense is very aggressive, especially the linebackers, very aggressive all over the field, understanding where to be most of the time, and for this defense to click, they need to not be on the field 24/7, and unfortunately that's probably what's going to be the case, unless they can get JT can just carry this offense, which I don't feel like is the possibility, as they slowly get him back in this offense because it just hasn't hasn't worked out yet. Maybe they get him going. We don't know. That's probably the plan, considering they don't have Anthony Richardson. It does suck. We didn't get to see much of Anthony Richardson with JT. That would be so amazing. That's a great combo, and we were kind of excited for that. We were like, oh, JT can take some weight off his shoulders. But he didn't even need the weight off his shoulders. So it's like, oh, he didn't need the weight off his shoulders. Well, what about him now, us knowing that he can play at that level even without JT? But no, let's see him now with JT, but we won't get to see that, unfortunately, this year. Maybe next year. Who knows? JT might not even be on the team next year. Maybe JT isn't even as good as he was in his 2021 campaign. We'll have to see. Last team in this division, we've got the Tennessee Titans, who, man, offensively have been struggling. Ryan Tannehill now injured, ankle injury. Malik Willis is now going to come in. And it's going to be a weird little dichotomy we have here with Malik Willis and Will Levis. We'll see how they insert both of them. It's probably going to happen. Will Levis is definitely getting inserted into this offense some point in this season. I think it's inevitable at this point. Titans probably going to become a selling team here. Probably going to sell. I don't know. I can't be certain of that, but there's a possibility they sell on D-Hop or somebody. This offense just hasn't been there, and man, it's just been all Derrick Henry, and he's had to carry the load. And again, this Titans offensive line, it just hasn't. It's been horrible, like always. Performing at expectation, which expectation was already set low. I would love to see Derrick Henry behind a different offensive line. We've now seen a couple other guys get their opportunities in different offensive lines, like David Montgomery and Swift. I mean, the offensive lines is not bad, and like I said, David Montgomery, got opportunity. He's got an opportunity to play behind that line, but now I feel like Swift gets to change up the line, and things are opened up. Then I feel like it fits his little play style. But I would love to see Derrick Henry again with the Eagles line or the Lions line, but we'll have to see. I mean, who knows? Maybe they trade Derrick Henry before the trade deadline, which is October 31st, Halloween, 4:00 p.m. Eastern time. So teams are going to have to make trades before that. I believe that would be, if today is the 18th, and okay, so 29. So that would be, they have 2 weeks of play before that date, which I believe is Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. That's a Tuesday, which they always like to do Tuesdays. So after the last game's been played 2 weeks from now, so after week 8, teams are going to have to make their decision before 4 p.m. And don't be surprised if you see Tennessee kind of just load somebody and get rid of them. This offense just, but fortunately for them, the defense has been playing pretty good. D-line playing as like Jeffrey Simmons, Harold Landry, Danico Autry, the names go on. Pass rush has been getting there. Not a problem. Corner's been playing pretty decent. A little bit better than what you expect from the defense or the corners. Kevin Byard just being Kevin Byard. Not have much to worry about from him. But it does suck. Something's missing in this Tennessee team, and I think it's part of the offense. I think this defense is formidable and can be on a good team, or can be part of a good team. It comes with the offense, and the offense just hasn't been there for a couple of years now, which sucks, but it is reality. Last 4 teams here, we're gonna just do AFC. We got the Chiefs. Chiefs just traded for McCole Hardman. They're trying to get another wide receiver. They're trying to get more hands in there. He knows the system. He knows Andy Reid's offense. He knows he's good with Patrick Mahomes. A little bit more speed, too. It seems like they've been missing on that speed. And it just feels like they've been, too reliant on Travis Kelce. That offense just hasn't been playing up to its expectations. But that defense has been playing way better than what we've expected. Chris Jones playing out of his mind. But, yeah. Not much to say about the Chiefs. They've been playing how we expect the Chiefs to go. 5-1. Doing their thing. Kind of, having to get away with some close games. It is what it is. But, maybe this team takes a, strive down the road because you know how good they are towards December, towards November. So there wouldn't be too much to worry for them. I mean, they're just going to try and, try to fit McCole Hardman into this offense slowly but surely. Not going to be forcing him into there because they still got some guys they want to keep and, keep getting reps and stuff. But they truly don't have a number 1 wide receiver right now. I mean, ever since Kelce left, or not Kelce, sorry, Tyreek Hill left, it's been kind of rough. I know Kelce's kind of like been that number 1 wide receiver, but when there's another guy on the outside, it opens up Kelce even more, and that's kind of what's dangerous. But when they know that it's going to Kelce in the middle, they can kind of guard it. And, Broncos struggled with guarding the middle. Kelce was just able to attack the middle all night. But when some of these teams kind of recognize it, it really, takes them out of the game a little bit. And that's why Chiefs, thankfully they're trying to use their 2 different tight ends. And when Travis Kelce wasn't there, they actually realized how good these tight ends were. So they're going with 3 tight ends, and it's kind of worked out for them, but I'm sure they want to change something. Pacheco doing really good. You'd be surprised he's a 7th round draft pick, and he keeps going, and he already assumed the role. He took it from Elaire, and Jerick McKinnon's got his little role, but Elaire's still part of this offense, so which is good to see. But yeah, Isaiah Pacheco been playing the best out of those 3 guys. Chargers, I don't know. This defense is off and on. They got names, but at the end of the day, they're just not playing up to what you'd like them to play. It sucks. They have the names, they have the people, they have the personnel. It's a matter of putting it together, and they just can't put it together, it seems like. And this offense, too, Quentin Johnson, not the guy that they want him to be right off the bat. Mike Williams is out. It's turning into a Keenan Allen-centric offense, and thankfully they had Austin Eckler. But, again, he was limited pretty much in that game against the Cowboys. But hopefully they can get him going again because they're going to need it. If they can't, then Keenan Allen is literally their guy, and that's it. That's what it comes down to. The Raiders, moving on to the Raiders. Um, this Raiders team, very very all over the place. Josh McDaniels not doing the right, not making the right situational calls. Devontae Adams, again, being the central part of this offense, and when he doesn't, perform as much as they would like him to, this offense, folds. Jimmy G hurt. Brian Hoyer was able to keep them in this game. It was nice to see them play as good as they did against the Patriots, but man, I mean, if this Raiders defense just doesn't, outperform the Patriots offense, I don't think they really win that game at all. I mean, it's Raiders offense is, just isn't putting the piece together. It sucks. They have all the personnel to put the pieces together, but man, Max Crosby has been that guy on the defense. He's really been all that defense is. But the defense definitely took a step up against this Patriots. But, I mean, the Patriots offense hasn't been playing that good either. I literally took them in all my fantasy leagues because I knew that the Patriots it just hasn't been it for them. Last team here I'm going to talk about is the Broncos. And the Broncos, weirdest case here. Just nothing's really working. Russell Wilson's had his good moments, but still it's just not going, equating to wins. Sean Payton, he's struggling with the same issue Nathaniel Hackett was struggling with. And as much as he clowns on how bad last year was, it's looking the same. They're going to be sellers. Wide receivers just not playing as good. I mean, Cortland Sutton's been doing his thing, but Jerry Jeudy not taking that necessary step up for this team. Jaleel McLaughlin, probably the biggest story about out of this team, and good for him. Because he's like one of the shining stars here, really at all. Because he's averaging a lot. He's averaging a good bit per carry, and Samaje Perine, he's older. Can't utilize him too much. Javonte Williams still struggling coming off that torn ACL, and Jaleel McLaughlin is he's kind of like acting as the number one here. It's just it's which is weird, but it really is what it is. What it is. I mean, this Broncos offense is getting desperate here. And speaking of desperate, their defense, man. I mean, Vance Joseph is about as pissed as anybody else because this is just not working out for him. And wouldn't be surprised if he gets fired before the trade deadline or something. I mean, it's been just so bad. They played good this past weekend, which was nice to see. Or this past Thursday against Mahomes, they did definitely stop him. But that goes to my point earlier, which I'm going to segue to finish this off. I mean, the offense in primetime has just been horrible, and I couldn't tell you why. The only game that I've seen where it's been good offense relayed to us has been the 49ers-Cowboys, in which the Cowboys really just kind of like fell apart. But other than that, offense has been horrible in primetime, and I really couldn't tell you why. It's just it's so weird. Like, it is so weird to me why offense has been horrible in primetime when you think they get better. Like, they're just when have you seen both teams scoring 30 points, or just any team really scoring 30 points plus in primetime? It just feels like, especially like me, like when I like just like going on these fake betting apps just to just bet, which I don't advise gambling. But like when I go on those apps, I tend to bet over or bend like bet the offense, bet like this offense will do this. And it's like, no, at this juncture, it feels like you have to bet under because no one's performing well enough in offensively in prime time. And I couldn't tell if it was the defenses or if it's just something offensively that just something in prime time where these offenses just can't light up. And typically they're scoring more points towards the end of the game. And I mean, the Bears did score 40 points, but again, that was against the Broncos defense, which already had been lit up. Um, so it was good to see the Bears actually like light up that offense, but like our defense. But why is it the Bears offense that is lighting up in prime time? No, nobody else. It's not like we can sit here and say like, oh well, that's just because it's good defense, a good defense, playing good, and that's why there's low scoring. We've seen high scoring games during the day against good defenses all the time, and we're seeing 30 plus games where both teams scoring 20, 30. We don't see that in prime time, it feels like. And we're seeing these low scoring games, and especially from these teams where we expect, like the Bills, Giants, we were expecting Bills to just light it up. Nope, nothing happened there. Broncos, Chiefs, nope, Chiefs couldn't get anything going. They made the Broncos defense actually look good. Uh, it's so odd to me how these offenses are struggle busing, as you may, in um in prime time, and I just couldn't tell you why. Hopefully that changes coming down the stretch here in the latter, well, the last 66% of the season. Hopefully that changes. We have a banger coming up. Can't remember, was it Sunday night or I think it's Sunday night. The Sunday night Eagles and Dolphins. Now, if that game is not a offensive juggernaut showing, like we need to see that. It is the Eagles offense, which didn't play that good against the Jets defense, but man, they're going up against the Dolphins defense, and then you have the top defense or offense in the league, right? Going up against the Eagles defense could be better, but they're still top, still up there, type of defense. I mean, they have the depth to show, but man, this better be a high-scoring game, or I'm just gonna keep pounding this point that offenses are sucking in prime time. They need to prove me wrong here. Like, this needs to be the game, and if this game is low scoring, then I can proudly say that this is a common theme here, that these offenses are bad in prime time this season, and there's something going on. It's just like something where it's just like there's some type of aspect bigger than what we can see that is, you know, the real reason why these teams are struggling in prime time. But that'll be all for this podcast. Thank you for listening. I tried to keep it, not too much over an hour here. The last ones have been going too long. Fortunately, I only went AFC because we'd be here all night if I went and did the entire NFL. So thank you for tuning into the AFC. See how I changed up? I was gonna do the whole NFL, but only AFC. So the intro might be confusing for people, but whatever. Doesn't matter. Thanks for tuning in to the AFC 1/3 season review. I don't know if I'll be able to get done the NFC. I got a lot of stuff to do, but thanks for listening. Hope you have a good day wherever you're listening. And peace out. See you guys later.